I am quite against this.
Wow.
Not just because I want the bestowed position, I earned the
Even
bestowed
and
position to be negative. But yeah, I am quite against this,
okay, so
despite myself.
here are the ground rules, right? And this goes for us here and for our listeners who would be calling in to text. Let's not make this about infrastructure, talking about schools, and then do we have even desks? Are we focusing on the wrong things? No, let's talk about it from a technological point of view. Is it really going to be possible? Like, what are the pros and cons of having laptops? Let's assume that all things being equal, we had the infrastructure that needed to be had. I know. That's the main point everybody's going to say. School buildings, nah, yeah. Do we even have electricity? Let's just assume. Because listen, the world is not going to wait for us to get the school buildings, the electricity, and the desks and the classrooms before the world moves forward. The world is moving forward. Other classrooms are already integrating ChatGPT into their curricula. We haven't even had computers or coding yet. So let's have this conversation on that premise. In a perfect world, in a perfect Ghana, in a utopic Ghana, where's the no laugh? That's what it's supposed to be. You can find a way to creatively make your points with infrastructure, but do not make it the basis of your point. Do I make myself clear?
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much. Now the show is brought to you by MTN. So as part of their support, we're going to take a quick break and let you listen to what they have to tell you. We'll be right back.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home. Shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is. Where the passion is. Where the laughter is. And sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions.
And send tweets.
Where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
And we're back. So today we're discussing the news about replacing textbooks in senior high schools with laptops. Yes. Are you for or against this? I'm talking to you, the listener, who's sitting in your car, sitting at home with your earphones on. Are you in support of it? If you're not, let us have that conversation. Send us a WhatsApp message 055 11 11 997 055 1111 997. And then when I open the phone lines, you can call in and yes, let your voice be heard. In the meantime, we're going to have the news, what's happening in tech, by Winston.
So WhatsApp is working on usernames and screen sharing.
Telegram stuff.
Yes. Twitter is now letting you search for new lists to follow as part of its updates.
Eh?
In AI news, Aloha faces sanctions after he used ChatGPT to write a brief riddled with fake citations. Apple's free photo stream service will shut down on July 26th. And of course, Daddy Elon is in the news. His brain chip firm Neuralink says it has received approval from the US Food and Drugs Administration to allow it to conduct its first tests on humans. The music streaming industry is set to be investigated by the government over suggestions that artists do not receive their fair share of royalties. TikTok, a star known as Meezy, has been remanded in custody after being charged with breaching a court order imposed after posting a prank video. Next, Netflix has begun cracking down on password sharing in the US, And finally, artificial intelligence could lead to the extinction of humanity. Experts, including the heads of OpenAI and Google DeepMind, have warned.
So those were the headlines.
Yeah.
Now let's get into it. So first,
Which one? I mean, I don't think we should discuss the Twitter.
I don't think the WhatsApp is
The
worth
WhatsApp,
discussing.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
features are all existing.
I'm sure people will be curious about the TikToker who's been reprimanded.
Let's do the ChatGPT one now.
Which one? Because there's like 3.
Yeah, there's only one. So you, Kobby, are doing an AI masterclass, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now this lawyer thought it prudent to use ChatGPT to write his briefs,
his
stuff. Yeah, his opening statements and stuff like that, and he didn't check.
So as we've been saying, if you've been listening to this show, check.
Yeah, do your due diligence. It's extremely important. Sometimes, because it's a large language model, it will try and get an answer for you by hook or crook. Sometimes, more times by crook, but it's learning to do it by hook. It's learning to do it by hook, to be honest.
That was a good one.
Okay, so now Elon Musk Neuralink. So FDA approval. Last year, they said they would go into human trials, and last year they weren't able to because they got some animal cruelty backlash because of the chips. Now, if you don't know and you're listening, Elon Musk's company, the Neuralink company's dream is to interface humans with
Artificial
intelligence or with computers. Basically, the target right now is to help blind people see and also help paralyzed people walk. Now,
I saw on the news that a paralyzed.
Yeah, a Swiss research company has tested their chips on a paralyzed dude, and he's walking.
He's walking, yeah,
Yes,
by thinking about
it. Do you think about walking?
No, because it comes automatically. But if I couldn't walk, I would think about walking.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering how much time he spends thinking.
I mean, I do think about playing every instrument. So if I could download it, and then if I think it, I know Kung Fu.
That should be interesting. Next is the music streaming industry. Now you are in the music business.
Yes.
So basically, it has come to the knowledge of some governments that the
streaming platforms.
Not the streaming platforms. The companies behind the artists. I forgot
the record labels.
Record labels get sometimes up to 89% of the revenue, the royalties revenue, and they are saying that's unfair. What do you think?
Well, it's been up for discussion for a long time. People have had, protests against Spotify and all the streaming platforms about all this. So yeah, it's not fair that the popular musicians get the bigger chunk of the pie. But then again, we're dealing with data here, and I like to believe that a proper distribution based on the data would create a fair industry for everyone to benefit.
Now, an ex-employee for Spotify has come up with an interesting solution to this. Basically, he's saying that what should happen is it should be a fixed rate, which will be taken from everybody's subscription payment, so that depending on the artist you listen to that month, they share your subscription.
That makes absolute sense.
So that means that if you listen to only that Lumba this month, you get all your money.
Yeah, that's how it should be, because I subscribe to listen to a certain musician. I don't listen to all those other musicians. Why should they be collecting my money?
Michael?
I'm not opposed to that. It's actually quite intelligent.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's not happening is quite telling. I mean, he's an ex-Spotify employee.
Yeah.
Or else he's taking the idea to Apple Music, or YouTube Music.
Well, he wants to make it across all streaming platforms. Before we do TikTok style easy, Netflix cracking down on password sharing. How do you guys feel about it?
I mean, if Netflix are allergic to money, they can just give it to me.
So the interesting thing is that they said in Spain, when they've tried this in Canada, Spain, and a few other countries. When they did it in Spain, they lost 1 million subscribers, but in other regions they've experienced a growth. So the idea is that you don't only you don't only are unable to share. What happens is that people can still use your Netflix, but they have to pay $8 a month. Which, how much is Spotify? I mean, Netflix, right?
I mean, it's not so expensive, so I don't know
in
why.
Ghana, it's not.
Yeah.
Out there, yeah,
out there it is.
It is. I think it's like $12.
But it's still not expensive.
Hey, Akwe. Somebody in Big Mac.
Bear in mind though, this is before the travel and then they tell you that you are not behind your TV. You subscribe onto this account to it, so we are canceling it anyway. And unfortunately, fed by the Instagram algorithm, I was fed by an interesting viewpoint. Military personnel who get a lot of overseas deployment.
Yeah.
A lot of them are really going to suffer from this. Peacekeepers and all, because you set up your account
with your family,
and then you are deployed somewhere. Pilots, like, there's no shortage of people that are like, you know what, this is not worth it anymore.
Well, that's their problem.
Okay,
for them, not for us.
Yeah.
The head of OpenAI and some heads of Google DeepMind are saying that artificial intelligence is a problem. It should be looked on a global scale, like policing it and stuff like that should be looked at a global scale, because it does have the potential to cause human extinction. So they should look at it in a similar way they looked at things like COVID and other social interventions. What do you guys think?
I think it's much about nothing, really.
I mean, I don't think he's wrong.
I don't think he's wrong.
But at the same time, too, he lets this thing out of the cage,
yes.
out of the bag, and now you're trying to quote unquote regulate it after I was already been out there. So someone could argue that, he's just trying to shut the door behind him so people can't get in. They can't get to his level.
That is fair, but it's not necessarily much ado about nothing if we do not understand, even from a human perspective, what intelligence is.
Do they? The people develop to barely understand it.
Yes.
Which is worrying, considering the things it can do.
Yes.
Here's the thing. If that's what our fears are, there's still a lot of things that we don't understand.
Yeah, so their argument now is that in the development of AI, we've overlooked certain things. Right now, almost everybody's looking at profits. So we should all slow down. So basically what Michael is saying does sound a bit true, that he wants to close the door behind him. You couldn't enter. Yeah. But I mean, it is something to be warranted. And they do say that even though people think that a lot of AI experts don't believe in this human extinction thing, apparently a lot of them do believe it has the potential.
We live to see.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Finally, would you have ever thought that someone would be arrested and taken to court over posting TikToks? And after they have released him, the sanction is that don't post again.
And then he goes to post.
Yeah, so there's this UK TikTok guy called Meezy. He does what people like to call pranks. I don't think what he does is pranks. Basically, one of the things he did is that he met an elderly lady in the park, was like, your dog is nice, and as a prank, he took her dog and ran away. Another time, a family was having dinner, a man and his wife and their little children, and as a prank, he just barged into their house and was walking around like he owned the place. That is the content he's doing.
And that's what he calls pranks.
That's what he calls pranks.
Well, it's good he does it in the UK, because if it was in the US, he would have been shot.
But that's the thing. The thing about being shot in the US is it depends on the state, because if he does it in a state like in California like this, you are not allowed to shoot. Even when someone comes on your property, the rules and regulations behind shooting, like
Wait,
there's
is this America we're talking about?
Yes,
where
America.
people get shot regardless of the laws.
Yeah.
Okay, so very, very quick history lesson. California has one of the strictest gun laws in the US, done by the gun party, the Republican Party years ago, because even though they say Second Amendment, everyone should have it, Ronald Reagan was governor at the time, Black Panther Party was a thing then. Yeah. And they're like, okay, if it's a Second Amendment rule to have guns, we too will have them in public as everyone else does. And it's like, no, not you.
Not you.
Give California some of the strictest gun laws around.
So basically, like for instance, in Canada.
Only California.
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, Canada and California.
Out of how many states?
It's still,
thank you very much.
But no,
I mean, you can't do this in New York.
Yeah.
You can't do this in New Jersey. There's still quite a few other states where it's like
one of the rules in the gun laws is basically that if at any point in time the person turns their back to you, you are not allowed to shoot. It's no longer considered self-defense. So anyway, that's the news.
Well, we have succeeded in digressing over TikTok. My concern about this TikTok was I've seen some other pranks, some scare pranks where people throw a bag like a bomb, shouts,
run,
and then, run. I was thinking this was one of the ones. I mean, I think somebody could easily have a coronary just from experiencing that.
I mean, there was a Ghanaian gentleman who got arrested in the CIA, the Institute of Culinary Arts.
For doing that.
For doing something similar, that type of stunt.
Anyways, so yes, Just so you know, don't do pranks that are dangerous. You can get arrested, taken to court. So we're going to have the conversation proper. And Winston, Michael,
Yes.
to be or not to be?
Not
That's
to be.
the question.
It's not.
Not, Michael.
Not.
Reason.
Okay.
Laptops. Should we have laptops replace textbooks in Ghana, secondary high schools?
Would be nice, except reason number one.
Right.
And you and I actually are quite up to date on this one.
Right.
You can actually get a lot of physical damage from overusing electronic devices. What do you call it? Fatigues and bad posture, musculoskeletal disorders,
Yes.
and breaks. Like even the whole American Optometric Association has a list of injuries that can occur from excessively using computers. Now multiply that over the course of a full school day for students and teachers as well. That really isn't great. Yes, students get more physical activity out of their day than typical adults do, but that is not a good precedent for the rest of their lives.
So you are saying that laptops, no, because
No.
of these reasons.
Oh, that's
So-
reason one. I've got like 10 more here.
What if they decided, okay, not laptops, tablets?
It's no different.
It is
It's even worse. Because at least with laptops,
tablets with S Pens.
So, so to debunk
yes, Winston,
my
you're learned.
my learned partner, my comrade over here. Yes, the ideally, yes, we can talk about posture and everything, but it will require certain changes. I mean, the average student or even sits hunched over their books. I remember back in Motown when I was writing notes, I'm hunched over my paper. So that when it comes to posture, I don't think it's much of a problem. The only thing that would need to happen is that they would have to reduce the distance between the table and the chair so that you can sit upright, and then they can actually enforce things like
This is
this.
students we're talking about. I mean, much as I would agree with you, I'll disagree with you as well. But on Michael's points, students, I remember when we were students, we used to carry textbooks, every textbook to school on days that we don't even need them,
And then we put the bag on
your
and
head
your spine.
and your spine,
You see,
carrying it like
that's
the
why the
Hunchback
two
of
of you are
Notre
shorter
Dame.
than
No,
me.
do you know what's funny? I never did that. What I did was that I just took all my books and I put it under in my desk. And
That's because you went to a private school. If you
I
had
didn't
gone
go
to
to a private school. Motown was not a private school.
Motown was a private public school. But yes, hot on the heels of Michael's point, people are carrying big bags of text. I mean, students carrying big bags of textbooks and the rest. They're already suffering as it is.
From back pain, yeah.
And then you too, Winston, saying that, students will never, ever obey any instructions. Oh, you should sit well, move the desk. Haven't you seen how some people sit in class like they're in their lounge,
Yes.
and then they just slump in the chair?
So that proves my point. That when it comes to the argument of posture, it's already terrible. So the laptop is not going to make it any worse.
What if
I
it
mean,
does?
it is.
It,
And remember,
it's
it's not just posture, eye strain.
your eye strain. You're not using it. Whose classroom is dark?
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Just
okay,
stand
hold
at-
on. Maybe I may be coming from a point of privilege, because I don't remember my classroom being dark. Maybe, unfortunately, there could be other classrooms that are
dark.
relatively darker. And that is a conversation. Definitely, if you are getting devices, you probably have to get a lot of blue light filters turned on to help them. Yes, does it have the chance to affect the eyes? Yeah, but that means that ideally we would be restructuring the educational system if we are going to have laptops. That means that there will be longer breaks to rest the eyes. And when they say laptops, it doesn't mean that from beginning of the day to end of the day, the laptop is on. There are moments where you don't take out your notebooks. You have to listen to your teacher. And then after you...
This is assuming every student is disciplined and will not be taking their eyes off the screen to pay attention to the
But if
teacher.
the
Thank
laptop
you
is
for doing
closed.
my point number 3.
No, if the laptop is closed during the times where you're supposed to be interacting with your teacher, it is very obvious when you open the laptop and they can't see your face, but they see lights. It's very obvious.
Once again, this is assuming that this laptop will resume the moment you open it.
I mean, sleep mode.
Yeah. If it was a very low-powered Intel Core M processor laptop, that would take forever to resume, even from sleep mode. Anyways,
Yes.
you've given enough points. So, Michael, back to you.
All right. So another issue that pops up,
Mm-hmm.
and again, we've experienced this intimately. You retain more information when you read and write it off paper than you do if you do same off a screen. In fact, you can't write on a screen unless you just don't like it anymore. You want to destroy it.
Or you have an S Pen.
Or you have a tablet with a pen, a digitizer.
Yeah, you can hear a producer shouting in the background.
Well, we're just pointing it
We
out.
don't know what kind of laptops they are. What if they get sponsored by Samsung and they're all giving Galaxy Books, which supports pen input, and they can fold them and write on the screens?
That's a pricey support, though.
I mean, we're getting support from all angles. It could as well come from the Korean government.
Do they sell the optimism you have in stores? Because me, I want some.
Well, to address your point, yes, retention does increase with actively writing, but I think that is a millennial way of thinking, my dear compadre. I believe that with the improvement in technologies, I'm sure a number of Gen Zs, and I've forgotten the new name they've given to the batch
Alpha.
after Gen Zs. Yes,
Alpha.
Gen Alpha. Those groups will beg to differ. They are people who are experiencing the world marginally different from the way we did. We had to write my first copybook. I don't know if they still do that in schools.
I don't know why they should still do that in schools.
Bro, that thing was really cool though. In retrospect, I was thinking about it recently. I'm like, hey,
It really be.
I'd like some of my first copybook right now.
It really
This
be
is
you.
such
Pe.
a Winston
It
thing.
really be you.
No,
you
so
Pe.
I mean, the reason I'm fond of my first copybook is that it helped me sharpen my ability to write with my left hand and right hand. So it's really cool. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we are moving into the future. So you cannot say that we should stick to pens and paper. No, in our workplaces today, everything is being digitized. So it goes without saying that there will be new learning habits. There will be new ways to absorb information. There will be new ways to learn. So yes, writing on paper, I still do it. But that's because I'm an old man and I accept it.
So your point is the young ones are going to be typing and using computers more anyway. So this is essentially them just starting it earlier.
Yeah, so even when we say the young ones, toddlers today can even use. They can skip ads. I know. I know. I have one in my house who can skip ads. So he can go and turn on which video he wants.
But
See?
wouldn't it be a problem also with different skills of typing? I mean, we can assume that with writing, almost everyone can keep up. And I say this sparingly because I can't speak for everyone. I don't have research to
I
back
beg
this.
to differ. Horrible. I beg to differ. I remember when I was in JSS, there were people whose handwriting was so terrible. Me, I was on the brink.
My
I was
handwriting was terrible. The point is,
mine.
thank
It
you.
still is.
Mine is still terrible, but then again, what I'm saying is that everyone, no matter how horrible your handwriting is, you can write up to a certain speed,
Yes.
right? But not everyone can type up to a certain speed.
So typing would have to be a part of the educational system.
So what class 1 will you do maybe speaking?
Sharp. Imagine, just imagine, my dear opponents, just imagine a world where class 2 students can type, like
Touch typing.
touch typing or just basic typing. By the time they're in class 6, they can be doing data entry for a lot of people just for fun and earning some extra money, although that could be child labor. Please, I don't know. But I've just cited an example. With time, we have to learn new skills and give up certain things. Me, I'm not going to give up paper and pencil, personally, because that's how I retain information. But
Michael, do you agree or disagree with his points? That's a
I'd
long
like
time.
to say I agree, but I still quite disagree. Yeah, it's not happening. Actually, you know what? Let me even move on from that point and make another point.
Right.
What did you do? I'm sure you remember. What happened when your textbook got spoiled?
when my textbook got spoilt, I don't particularly remember.
Oh, so
share.
when
When your Acula's spine just
Bro,
ripped.
I
Or
didn't
gassed.
really use those things.
You didn't use Acula, you didn't use Gast.
I just listened in class. bro.
anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Let's.
So when some water got on it or
Yeah.
a class argument got torn, I mean, you broke out the sellotape or put in the sun for a few hours and job. Can you do that with a laptop?
But you see, here's the thing: the laptop we are given the argument is that it is being provided. So definitely there will be groups of people who will be responsible for
The upkeep.
And repair. It's
And
not for you to keep. It's not a personal computer. It is a public computer.
It's a school computer.
It's a school
basically.
computer.
Yeah.
So ideally there will be backups every day or after every lesson and stuff like that. So if one breaks, they just get you a replacement.
It's not a 30-second replacement though. If you spoil your textbook right now in class, you tore it for some stupid reason.
But have you
10 seconds later with some tape, 1, 2, yeah, done.
Yeah,
Back
but
to
tape
the
doesn't
lesson.
work on Milo. Haven't you poured Milo on your book before?
Hit the. I need
So,
some paper here to bash.
DJ Magic Mike says he's in support of the laptops to replace textbooks, but who is going to check the maintenance culture of the laptops, which is something that we have a problem with in this country, maintenance culture. And, students, I mean, it's not mine. Why should I take care of it?
I mean, so to respond to this, as you, my learned colleagues, are here, if I was in charge of this system, I'll probably dock you some points,
Right.
Academic points, if you unwittingly break. It's a different situation if you. First off, I'm going to be biased. Maybe I'm privileged again. When we're in Motown, you are not allowed to eat on the school roof. You don't eat in the classroom. So the chances of you eating or drinking and spilling on the laptop is next to zero. If it happens, that means you're eating on that school roof. You've broken a rule already.
So it's going to be built to
So
you.
yeah, so you are going to pay for it. Your parents will come, and your school fees that was 10K is now 24K. I'm just kidding. But you get the idea. So it can either be built. The maintenance could be billed to you and your parents. Although certain students don't particularly care, but that's besides the point. Or they can bill you and also deduct points, so you can be given extra credits for maintenance culture.
Michael.
But that is still aside the fact that even if yes, there's a solution, maintenance, they can dock you for it. That is still a big disruption to the learning environment. Time is being taken out.
Yes, and
Right.
that is what you learn to take responsibility. That's what happens when you unwittingly break something. There are repercussions for it.
So the entire existence of humanity
Yes.
is learning responsibility.
Yes.
It's not only in class, and right now in class to learn other things aside responsibility.
Including responsibility. Actually.
Yes, but it is not the primary thing. You have a lot more important things to learn, like DYDX. You don't want to miss that lesson because your laptop screen went ka, and now you can't take sellotape to fix it. You have to now send it to the
But I
IT
recall
office.
being in school sometimes when you come to the class and you didn't bring, let's say literature class, you didn't bring your
And you hanged out in the class. You didn't bring your notebook, or you,
you
didn't bring
di-
your textbook in
you
question.
didn't bring your As You Like It. For those who read your William Shakespeare, As You Like It, or The Gods Are Not to Blame, you didn't bring that to class, and the teacher asks you to go out. Isn't it the same thing? You're missing the class because you didn't have the textbook.
Bro,
you lost it.
You just triggered memories.
So your government textbook or your CRS textbook
So fair enough.
or your first aid in English.
No, fair
you
enough.
see, the reason he's talking like this is because he went to a private school. You were accusing me of going to a private school. He went to a private school.
Yes. So Michael, so you never experienced being asked to go out of the class because you didn't have a textbook.
I mean, I went anyway. But that even makes my point even more valid, because now you're fine. I go to class. I've forgot to bring one important textbook. So my teacher, forgetting the whole point of my being in class, say, now you don't learn anything. Go away. Okay, cool. I've missed one class, but if I don't go without my laptop, I've missed all the classes.
But who's to say that you're going with your laptop? What if the laptops are already in the classroom, on the desks, secured by Kensington cables, so nobody can take them away? So you come in, you sign in to your. I mean, in getting into the school, you are assigned a username.
Yeah.
And that username synchronizes everything you do on the cloud. I mean,
Your ID. Your
ID, your index number is
Index, yeah,
practically
exactly.
your username. That's what you're going to even use to write your WASI.
Oh,
So
very-
Michael at butcher.com.
Faith.
No. So you come, you sign in, and then it synchronizes all your files, and you start working. So somebody comes in, they use the same computer, but then they sign in with their own speaking of this, a point comes into my head, but unfortunately, I'm the judge. So
Yeah.
And similarly to business and workplace computers, now are doing the right thing. Yes, using paid for software.
Mhm.
Yes, it goes off within seconds. Like Michael, your computer, when it's not in use, it just
logs off.
logs off, and then you log back in. At the end of the day, if this is what we are going to do, the educational system will be restructured. And obviously, if they are going to be using laptops, clearly there will have to be backup laptops lying somewhere. Maybe the teacher is in his cupboard, or if you are using laptop on table, then there's no cupboard, right? So, probably
There will be a cupboard.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. But so at the end of the day, it's personally my personal experience with this book thing. That I remember I had an EMA teacher who did a test.
And say you didn't use Acula.
No. He had his own book, and if you didn't buy it, he sacked you from the class. See, first one, and
So now you can instead of buy my book or download my textbook.
My PDF.
Yeah, download my PDF.
But you see, when you have a computer-based system now, you can curtail that. Because I remember when I was in Motown, there were some teachers who were selling their private books and insisted that you use those private books in class. Now, if you have your PDF, I come to force me. I don't install things on the computer.
Let me read some of the messages that we're receiving. Tom from North K says, "Good evening, Kobby and team. The idea of students having a laptop or pad is laudable, but my fear is when some students decide to use it for a different purpose. I champion for students to bring a SIM-less phone to school to connect to an iBox. They ended up doing otherwise. So, yes, give them rules, they'll break them." We've got other messages. For years now, government has failed to So, guys, can we not make it political? I want us to keep the conversation very
Technical.
tech related. Let's just talk about the tech decision, not the political part. That a lot of political shows on the radio as it is, we can't have Geek Squad becoming one. So, good evening. I'm not a prophet, but I can say for sure that the following will happen. About 40% of the laptops will break down with the first term. About 20% of the laptops will be stolen within a year. About 3 electrical connections will cause fire outbreaks in a number of schools, etc. That's Daniel from Hatsu. Daniel, wow, that's the harbinger of doom.
That's some statistics you have there.
Yeah, like, anyways, so...
Actually, Spiky, you mentioned the point earlier about kids someone will exploit the system. You know, make it worse. So yeah, they'll knowing them, you give them access to these machines, they will easily find not all, but it will be much easier for them to find exploits and be able to bypass the system to do what it is they want, which one will make learning more difficult because you're now shifting the onus of learning from the teacher who's imparting knowledge to the device in front of you. This is where your knowledge base is coming from. And it also puts the teachers on the back foot because being from our generation and older, they are technology much further back than their students in front of them. So these kids will be running loops around them on these machines. And most of them will not know what to do. Now, my learning opponent here can wax his mustache and give me his response.
Yes,
So, before you address this...
Now this is even coming for me.
CBO from Dance One says, "What do you read when you go home if you can only access the laptop in class?" Let's stop kidding ourselves. So
I will address that.
Okay.
Let me address my learned colleague here. Mrs. Speaker.
Mrs. Speaker.
So the idea that the children would run loops around the teachers and those in authority is a fair and grounded one. But as a tech show, as a group of tech enthusiasts who have reiterated and constantly lauded the activity of Matrai Makwe
in mechanics and wayside mechanics.
No, in tech, we have lauded this. We've said this, that the fastest way to learn about technology is to experiment with it.
Responsibly.
Responsibly, yes. But so we know these things will happen. But at the end of the day, if you find a child who has been able to exploit the educational setup using their computer, I tell you, find him a job. I say.
So we've got some please add your name when you send messages so I can read out your name. This message says, some of us do not do well with soft copies. Hard copies are better. Don't replace textbooks with laptops. Rather supplement textbooks with laptops. So yes, someone saying that let's do both. That's from Enyo Bay. She says, let's do both. Let's not do one or the other.
Unfortunately, Enyo, I'm going to reiterate this, that the children of today play by different rules.
Right.
In our time, that's fair. But the children to come, they don't play by those rules.
I think, producer, the next episode, we should have the ones who are going to be doing the learning with laptops to have that conversation, not these privileged.
Oh, it's a privilege, my.
So,
Mr. Chairman.
let me. Nana Kwesi says his point is not political, so let me read it. He said, for years now, government has failed to print common textbooks for pupils. So, in order to dilute the reality, this initiative, great idea, it has it's been overdue. However, I don't call me the move. I want to understand what you mean by don't call me the move. It's gonna just tally up the financial loss to the state, and regardless, the political contractor will make the cash. I ain't being negative, bro. If you doubt my concerns and prediction, ask yourself this: what happened to one teacher, one laptop?
So, Nana Kwesi. Oh wait, there's Sammy or something that I should be addressing.
What's with this voice, Winston?
Because we are having a debate, I have to sound eloquent and privileged. Thank you.
Privileged you are, mom.
Producer, could you pull up? So what do you do when you go home? What do you read? So this is largely targeted at senior high schools, and basically that will also be targeted towards those in boarding school.
So the day students,
you go home and go and use your laptop.
How do you know I have a laptop at home?
Sorry for you. Sorry for
letting you. Sorry for me. Look,
bruv. When we were in Motown,
I'm supposed to be getting this education too, you know.
Yeah. So
you're forcing everybody to be at boarding.
No, I'm not forcing everybody to. I'm telling you, everybody, that it's never been fair in the educational playing field. It's never been. So if you don't have laptop at home, sorry, maybe stay for extra classes. But at the end of the day,
do you live with me?
When I say extra classes, I mean if you want to stay longer in class to use the computers, I'm sure it is something that would be allowed.
So I think what Winston is trying to say is that the same way we had computer labs during our time,
and
someone like Michael had a computer at home, and
you did privilege.
The rest didn't
privilege.
The rest didn't have. You can't expect the playing field to be equal. Level.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then again, that's what we're pushing for. We're pushing for a level playing field.
Yeah. So this one, in all honesty, it can level the playing field a lot, because when I remember, after school, there's lunch. Then there's siesta. You're not supposed to be doing anything during those periods. It's after siesta that you're supposed to be doing stuff. You can, if you don't have any chores or you haven't been given any tasks to do in your boarding house, you can literally walk back to your classroom and study, which means that you can walk back to the classroom and use your computer. So you can do your reading.
You know, that's usually the time when fights break out in classrooms and stuff. Imagine some people have a fight and they smash about 10 computers in the classroom.
Some of it, yeah. Like, why are we making
you know how students can go like, who did this? Everybody like, we don't know.
Then all of you pay. There's always a snitch. My guys, why are we pretending like there's never been that person in the class who will be like, oh, sir, you gave us homework when it was just a suggestion. There was always a snitch.
Meanwhile, there are lessons to be learned and the laptops are still broken. Yeah. Pay or not, like, how are you now going to learn?
Oh, then you see, that's why we talk about.
Yeah, because like right now you've got about 15 laptops damaged, and maybe the backups were only 5.
Yeah, so you share. But here's the thing: it really, like, at the end of the day, the student who I read that I won't get 8 A's. He will snitch.
But then snitching doesn't restore.
It won't fix the laptops.
It's not going to fix the laptops, but it's going to show us who is responsible for this. And also, when I say there are backups, I don't think a school is going to get only 10 laptops for backup. They can pick up other backups from other classes that are more responsible.
So you're going to take the more responsible classes laptops, kind of give the irresponsible ones.
Congratulations on being a pro student.
Machimota says that children should not dictate the rules they want to play by. Let's alert ourselves about the negative effects of constantly watching laptop screens. So Michael's points well.
And sorry for you, like, kids do what they want, and you cannot stop someone from learning something they want to. Winston's child already knows how to use his phone. skip. No, forget just skipping ads. Or skipping ads, loading ads. Like he will take the phone and do what it is he wants to do.
And how old is he?
He's not 2 yet.
He can't speak.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to open the phone lines. I want to hear from you, the parents, if you're students and you think this is a good idea for you, let us know your experiences. But please, no politics. We'll be right back.
This Wednesday on the Joy Business Van, 3 fabricators into the production of cookware, furniture, gates, balustrades, and other aesthetic fabrications. We feature Jay's Design Innovations, which has produced as a first of its works an adjustable barbecue grill machine.
We were challenged to look within our society and then find a problem and solve.
But what makes the barbecue grill machine unique?
Our barbecue grill machine has a flipping mesh. So with that, you pull down the handle and then the whole mesh flips over without you, the user, using your hands in contact with what you are grilling.
Young fabricators with big dreams.
We intend to be one of the best welding and fabrication company with precision quality in Ghana.
Catch Jay's Design Innovations on the Joy Business Van this Wednesday on TV, radio, online, and on ground. The Joy Business Van, powered by Joy Business and supported by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. And MTN, what are we doing today?
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions.
And send tweets.
Where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
And we're back to talking about replacing textbooks with laptops. Producer, next week, I mean, it would be wonderful to have the vice president here to have the conversation. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or maybe his secretary or his
Want
executive. It would be nice to have him to speak.
So yes, we want to hear from you, the audience. If you don't mind calling us 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. Call us, let us know. Do you agree that we should replace the textbooks with laptops? I mean, we're in an era where teachers are telling their students, you can do the work, the assignment I'm giving you, use ChatGPT, but use it responsibly. Then the person doesn't even have a laptop. How are they going to use ChatGPT and use it responsibly? We've got a message here. Why not segment the schools? Some go the traditional way and others go technology way. We've got a call on the line. Hello?
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening. I haven't heard your voice in a long time.
Because you don't open the phone line. I mean,
today we opened it, and I'm glad you called.
Now. You know, you guys like to talk a lot, so you don't give us the opportunity to also come in. Some of us don't like texting.
I'm glad to hear from you today. So let's know what's your point.
Well, I mean, you say we shouldn't make it political, but I want to say that politics is about giving alternatives. Whatever I'm going to say right now is politics. It's only in this country that we think politics is about insults, lies, you know, that kind of thing. But let me just move on. You know, it's this thing is not going to work. It's just, as one of the parents already said, an avenue where some political tycoon is going to make so much money of our little taxes. I mean, you say we shouldn't talk about infrastructure, but infrastructure is key. And I'm glad that you want to get the vice president or somebody from his office to come and explain this thing to us, because if we don't have electricity, I mean, if you are going to do this, we need phase 3. We need, those technical guys can tell us all the phases we need, because you are going to be drawing power. Look at a laptop charger. You have 65 watts for some of them. Some are 60 watts. And if you're going to have 1,000 students, just multiply that. So we are not ready for these things. And I wonder how people think when they are coming up with some of these ideas, because you're talking about replacing laptops with textbooks. I mean, for me, it doesn't make sense, so to speak. I mean, if you have textbooks, that is a good way to go. Let's look at America, Europe, where we have the infrastructure. They still have textbooks. If you go to school abroad, you still have the library where the physical books are. Then those who are using the technology can also have it as an e-book to read. You need parts, not laptops. Look at how much power laptops consume. Then maintenance. Do we have the repairs around? And this is going to disadvantage remote schools. A lot of schools are remote areas. They don't even have computer labs. I mean,
True.
So what are we talking about?
Thank you. We've got another call on the line.
Somebody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, your name, where you're calling from, please?
My name is Israel.
Israel, hi. So what's your point?
Yes. Replace textbook with laptop. It's good initiative, but I don't think it's possible. Just because, first, the laptop cannot be hung in air. Definitely the student will have to get desks and put the laptop on it. There's no desk in the school. Where are you going to hang the laptop? Again, when the laptop goes spoiled, does it mean that moment the student will not get access to book to learn?
Maybe they'll have backup.
Maybe.
And
it's maybe. Even what is the assurance that all the students can get that laptop before you are talking about backup?
Right.
Let's look at this. How many teachers do we have across the secondary schools?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the number of the students we have across the secondary school in the country, they were unable to provide the laptop to the teachers. It's less than 1% of the population of the students. How possible could it be to provide the laptop to the hundreds of thousands of students?
Right. Thank you very much. We've got another call on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Saint OJ. I'm calling you from Wisconsin.
Hi, OJ.
Yes.
Are you for
want
again?
To say you guys are doing a good job for Mother Ghana.
Thank you very much.
I really love your program, but I am talking to you as a teacher.
Right.
So I'm trying to do an assessment.
Wonderful.
The first I want to say is that in coming to do this program, did you check anywhere in the world where the schools have been able to replace all their textbooks with laptops? Did you check anywhere?
So we did some checks. We didn't find a school where every textbook has been changed, has been replaced.
Okay, thank you very much. So you see, even if you take Cambridge, where they are highly advanced, they give you textbooks and CDs and all that, Cambridge does not replace textbooks with laptops.
Right.
It doesn't make sense anywhere. Anywhere there's a school, there could be a laptop, there could be a tablet, and there are also textbooks for good reasons. And also, we need to understand that the children we have today are already into computers.
Right.
They are not into learning. All the computers they're going to give them, they're going to use it for games and other things, and they will not learn. Then somebody asks infrastructure, where are you going to keep them? Which computers are we going to use?
Right. Thank you very much. We've got a final caller.
Okay.
Hi. Your name, where you're calling from?
Nixon from Prom.
Hi, Nixon.
Charlie, I don't know what to say. Charlie, are we living in a traditional Ghana or what? You know, we still have kids living on the streets. Are those kids part of this agenda or they are left out?
I'm struggling to hear you.
Pardon?
I'm struggling to hear you. Your line is quite bad.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to say, are we living in a delusional Ghana? Or we are living in actual Ghana? Are we talking
I'm still really struggling to hear you.
Or we are talking about people who still live on the trees. They school on the trees. So the thing is geared towards a certain people or it's geared towards the whole Ghana. And just as your previous callers have been saying, is it that they've not been able to supply teachers? How do they supply students?
Right.
See, let's start debunking some of these theories even before they start, building that fire and that fury around it. As if it's not as if it's impossible, but in Ghana, this is not something feasible. Let's stop kidding ourselves.
Right. Thank you very much, Dixon. In Ghana, let's be realistic. It's not like it's impossible, but let's be realistic. So we're almost out of time. So Michael, Winston, 15 seconds to finalize.
And let me just drop a quick
Yeah,
jargon buster before our
jargon
producer has aneurysm. So, did you know there's a difference between save and save as? When you save, you are changing the original file you opened and re-establishing the changes you've done. When you do save as, you're making an entirely new file. Either way, it's still good practice to make sure you save your work every 15 minutes or every 5 minutes or so. Just make constant changes. Or if you make significant changes, you can save a new file using, as I said before, save as.
Right. Thank you very much for the jargon buster today. Winston, Michael, final words. We're all out of time.
Final words. Honestly, I think this can be a prototype can be done. They can run it in a small school and figure out how it worked, and then we take it from there.
Right.
Which would be fair if we are being optimistic, but I'm not. This thing is a bad idea. Let's nip it in the bud and do what we know works.
Right. So thank you very much for listening. Next week, we might continue on this topic from a different perspective. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah. You've been listening to Geek Squad on Joy FM. Up next is the news. We'll catch you next week on another episode. Peace.